Hey everybody, what's going on? Good evening. It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. And you know what that means. This is the third week in a row that we've done this. It's like a happy hour. So I hope that you guys are settled in and ready to have a little fun. I don't know, I've been looking forward to this. It's fun for me. I'm going to play a little bit more for you guys tonight, try and shut up a little bit. But I got some good stories for you too. We'll talk about some of my buddies on the railroad. Dave Martak, look out, dude. So, with that, I guess we ought to, I'm going to start out by playing, but perhaps we should have a little cocktail. You know, before we play, we got to get tuned up, right? So, that's exactly what we're going to do. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you're having. If you want to drink water or beer, apple juice, cranberry juice, tomato juice, moonshine perhaps for my folks down in West Virginia. But we're going to drink responsibly, and that's what it's all about. So that looks like a good pour. Past couple of weeks I've been pouring them trucker style, and maybe I'll pour another one trucker style. We'll see. Anyway, my friends, my family, welcome to Tuesday night. Let's get tuned up and have some fun. So, cheers. Who we got on board with us here? Tony again. Hey, Kim, how are you? Leslie, I know you and Julie are out there. You guys scratching lottery tickets yet? Hope you get a winner. So, let's just see what happens here. What do you say? I'm going to tell you a story about this guitar, too, later. This is it's my favorite. It's my number one. So, anyway, let's boogie, man. You guys have a good time, all right? Hope I don't screw this up too bad. But here we go. That have you shaking in your seat? I hope so. So, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. How many people we got tuned in now? Looks like we've got several. Hey, Karen, what's going on down in Tucson? George, hey, Dave. Cheers, guys. You know, it's tough. I try and look at the comments when I can. Usually it's a day or two later. And so I got to time everything right and play the video so I can see what's going on. But I genuinely appreciate you guys checking in. If you're out there, give me a like or a thumbs up, whatever. Let me know you're there. And hey, send me a picture of your beverage of choice. So let's talk about this guitar, okay? This guitar is a 1989 Fender American Standard Strat, left-handed. But the story behind it is way back then. I was a huge Eric Clapton fan, and you guys that know Eric Clapton, and you know, you're fans of Eric, you know that he has a pewter Stratocaster, just like this color, okay? And this color in a left-handed guitar wasn't available, and I couldn't get it, so I ended up ordering through Ace Music in Santa Monica. Ace is no longer around, but I took lessons there back in the late 80s when I was working out in Los Angeles for US Air. And so when I came back to Columbus, I fell in love. I wanted a Strat, and So the only place to buy it for me was back at Ace Music. These two brothers owned and ran Ace Music, Hank and Jack. And super cool guys. And they had vintage guitars everywhere. And they let you play anything you wanted. So very cool. And I talked to those guys, and they ordered the guitar for me straight from Fender. And it took about 6 months to get. And this guitar, you guys that have been following me around, or the various bands and incarnations of what I do, will recognize this guitar. This was on the original Live at Dick's Den back in, gosh, Donnie, what was that, 94 or 95? I can't even tell you what I had for breakfast, so how am I going to remember that far back? And then also on the 5 Nights tour that we did in the recording. So this guitar and I have been around for a long time together. Funny story about this guitar. Many years ago, back about 1994, I was playing a gig with Willie Pooch and the Usual Suspects, and we were at a place somewhere over Worthington. I can't remember the name of it. It's what Route 66 is now. And Al Roop and I, you guys probably know Al. If you don't, you probably know of him. Al's a drummer and a very good drummer. And Al is a tequila drinker and a very good tequila drinker. And Al and I, back in the day, were tequila buddies. Very rarely do I do that anymore. But at any rate, we were doing a gig, and there was a pretty attractive young lady that came in, and I was showing off, you know, playing behind my back and all that crazy stuff. And I was young and stupid back then. Now I'm old and stupid. But so I'm playing the solo, and the next thing I know, I'm like, where's my guitar? I had dropped my guitar, and it was an outside gig, and we're playing on like a brick patio. And I tore a couple of chunks out of this guitar. And I don't know if you guys can see down here by the jack. Yeah, you guys can see that. See there? I had to have that refinished because it broke my heart. It was down to the wood. And also up here on the headstock, there is a nick right there. Can you see it? And then there's another one. I've got it covered up with the tuner, but tore the hell out of it. And ended up taking it to Elderly Instruments up in Lansing, Michigan. And they, this dude Frog, that was his name. He's a lefty. He had a guitar player like me, but he played with the strings upside down. Really good guitar player. Did the best they could on the repairs. But those marks are there to remind me not to do anything stupid, because that was stupid. And you know, this guitar has character. It's got scars, just like all of us do. You know, and that's part of our journey, is getting banged up a little bit. You know, and if you have scars or dings, you know, scratches, it's cool, man. That's who you are. Embrace it. Don't be afraid of it, because that's just part of our journey. So this guitar's got several scars on it. I know another buddy of mine, Nate Ortiz, one of my Delta buddies. Hey Nate, what's up? I hope you're out there, man. He was asking me whether I blocked the bridge or not, because this has a floating tremolo on it, and I don't use a tremolo. And so this thing would float, and if you bend strings like I do, and I used to play with heavy gauge strings, which I don't anymore. I played with like 13s, and I'm down to 10s now. But you can see back here, I took the back plate off, and I put a couple extra springs in there. So this thing is blocked down really nice. And so anyway, this is my favorite guitar. It's my first Strat. It's got a really killer tone. Back in about 94, 95, I put new pickups in it. This has Texas Specials in it. They're real bitey pickups, and I just love the tone of this guitar. It just bites. So it cooks, man. And so this is my favorite, Favo-Rite. Another thing I got to tell you about this guitar, and then I'm going to play a little bit. All right, so you guys have heard me talk about Big Chris. You know Big Chris is my, you know, one of my bestest buddies. And so Pete and I were riding out west, and we stopped. I did a gig in Pittsburgh, and I had sent my guitar over to Pittsburgh ahead of time, so Chris was holding on to it. And so after the gig, Pete and I took off for a 3-week trip out west on the motorcycles. Whole other story. But this guitar was with Big Chris for a couple of months, and when I got it back, this was up on the headstock. Okay, and can you guys see that right there? You know who that is? Anybody? Any guesses? It's not James Brown. Okay. That's Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite. He's an old comic and super funny, super raunchy, but one of my favorites. So that was a gift from Big Chris, and how could I get rid of it, right? So it's there to stay, man. So let's just groove for a minute, man. I'm going to loosen up a little bit. I didn't loosen up last week as much as I should have, and it showed. So hopefully I don't embarrass myself as much as I did last week. Cheers, everybody, if you're just coming on board. Glad to have you. Leslie, I see you. Girk. Oh, man, my buddy Girk, John Garricky from high school. Love you, dude. Miss you. Hey, George. So, we're going to groove for a second, and I'll tell you another funny story about this guitar. Okay, so I did this one a couple weeks ago, but this is normally what I loosen up in, and the bastardized chord patterns that I play with allow me to move from key to key pretty easily. So I'll do this in A. A couple people asked last week what key, and I didn't see it. So I'm going to just play a little rhythm in A. If anybody wants to jam along, if you have a guitar or harmonica, bagpipes, whatever. Okay, so this is just a nice little shuffle, and I might change it up a little bit. We'll see. But anyway, it goes like this. Get up and dance if you want. So jam along with that if you want. It's just a nice way to loosen up. So anyway, back to this guitar from Ace Music, and a little bit about Ace and the guitar. Ace Music, for you guys that are guitar players, or as I like to call guitar pickers, know that I'm a huge Albert Collins fan, the Iceman, okay? And come to find out that if you guys remember Albert's Telecaster that he played during his Alligator Records years, he bought that at Ace Music from Hank and Jack. So I thought, man, how cool is that? I've got my guitar that from the same shop that Albert Collins got his. So I was hoping that there's some of that mojo, some of that magic in this guitar. I originally went to buy a Tele, and they talked me out of it. G&L was big at the time, and ended up getting the G&L ASAT. Not the same as far as I'm concerned. They're a nice guitar, but I like the Teles and the Strats. So that's this guitar. It's a workhorse. Like I said, it's an '89. I'm the original owner, and I treat it with all the respect that it deserves. Because back in the day, I used to beat this guitar up, and she stuck with me, so she's okay in my book. So back in the day, I'm going to jump back to about 1994. Okay, and this guitar was from '89, like I said. I was heavily into Stevie Ray Vaughan. Who's not, right? I mean, the guy he's a legend. He's the master. He turned so many people onto the blues that never would have found it otherwise. And so I was and I'm still a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, okay? And I'm equally as big of a fan of his brother Jimmy Vaughan. Jimmy is one of my favorite guitar players right now, okay? But back in the day, I wanted to play like Stevie, and I would put all of his records on, and I would play Pride and Joy and all that stuff, you know. I didn't play it right either, did I? I guess I changed my position. Anyway, Stevie Ray. And so when I got these promo pictures done, and you guys are going to laugh, I promise, because it is cheesy, all right? I had these promo pictures taken by a buddy of mine. He was a professional photographer. And I'm going to have to put this guy down for a second. But, guys, get a drink. We're going to need a drink for this because this is funny. So this is me about somewhere around 30 years old or so. How's that for cheese? Can you say? I can't say cheese because it's my brother, cheese. But that's me wearing my long coat like I thought I was somebody. I wanted to be like Stevie, though, just like everybody. But that's the guitar that I'm playing now. And I'll post a picture of this online on Facebook so you guys can make fun of me some more, because I know exactly that's what's coming. You know, and it took me a long time to realize that you can dress the part, but you still have to play the guitar, you know? And I'm always a student. I'm always learning, obviously. But for all you young guys out there, and some of the old guys too, that want to play just like Stevie, okay? I get it, because I did, and I wanted to, and I still want to steal his licks. But I want to sound like Tom Backus, right? I'm still trying to develop my own sound, and it's hard. But what you do is you take all, it's like gumbo, okay? You take all of your influences, whether it's Stevie, Albert Collins, Freddie King, Albert King, B.B. King, you know, and you mix it all together, and then you go to other genres as well, you know? Don Rich, Merle Haggard, you know, the Bakersfield guys. Man, there was so much cool music coming out of Bakersfield. But what I've tried to do is put everything in a pot and develop my own sound instead of just sound like one guy. But I always come back to the blues. So anyway, this is a little something that I picked up years ago. Just a little, it's a nice little groove, couple cool little licks in it that I like, and it's out of the key of D, if anybody wants to play along. And I hope that I don't butcher it. So, who we got checked in here? Hey, Jeff. Richard. Presh Block, happy belated birthday, buddy. And my buddy, Michael Lazinga. Zing is a great dude, great songwriter, great guitar player, and a dear friend down in Huntington. So, cheers to Zing, my bud. And guys, let's just celebrate tonight, man, that we're all together. We may not all know each other, but we're together in this virtual world that we're in, all right? So, cheers. Make a new friend. Celebrate, okay? I like that. Okay. See if I can't screw this up, all right? Hey, Nisa, are you guys out there down in Texas? I can't tell if you guys are or not, but cheers to everybody in Texas. Pieces, man. And my buddy Christian Brooks, Tim Mercer. I hope you guys are out there. So, and I hope I get to see you soon. And I'm going to shut up, okay? I love that. It's just a cool little lick, and it's super simple. It's a minor pentatonic, and it just goes like this. So anybody out there, guitar players, it goes. Well, it doesn't go like that. Let me tell you. Okay, I'm gonna slow it down so it's. All right, I love that. I think it's the coolest thing. So, I've gotten a lot of use out of that. And I like that rhythm. That's I think that was originally a Little Charlie Beatty from Little Charlie and the Nightcats, who passed away this year. So much cheers and respect to Little Charlie. Do you guys have any questions for me? I got about 40 people out there. Jerry Lee Brooks, what up? Tele versus Strat. I hear you, brother. That's a good question, and that's like one of those questions for the ages, man. Why the chicken cross the road, right? I love them both for different reasons. I love the Strat for its versatility. I think it's a sexy guitar. You strap one of these around your shoulder, and you've got a tool. Okay, this is the working tools of a guitar player. The working tools. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. Okay, this guitar is my working tool, and I love the Strat. And back when I got this guitar and I started playing, it seemed like that was when the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing was really kicking, and everybody and their brother is now playing Strats. And part of that strategy that I was telling you about, where I didn't want to sound like everybody else, I wanted to develop my own sound, and so I switched to the Tele, and God, I fell in love with it. I love the Telecaster. The twang, God, it's an unbelievable guitar, and I love all the Nashville guys and the Bakersfield guys. Red Volkert, Bill Kirshen, Don Rich, those are all great players. Johnny Highland, who lives out in Virginia now, he's one of the younger guys, compared to Merle. But Johnny Highland's really cool. Brad Paisley, I dig all those guys, and it's just, the Tele is cool, man. And I can kind of get a little bit of a Tele sound. I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not, but go back to the bridge pickup between the bridge and the middle. Kind of sounds Tele-ish, and if you play it back on the bridge, let's try that groove for a second. I think the popping sounds better. See what you think. See, now I can't do it. Up a little bit, right? I can't do it. I love that. So, Jerry, I hope that answers your question. I love them both. I go back and forth with them. I go both ways with the guitar. But it's just, they're both super, man. And a couple of years ago, matter of fact, Jerry, when I was living down in Barbersville, I saw all my equipment that I have, and you can see behind me, I have a small sampling of it. And I'll show you some of it here in a minute. But I decided I was going to get rid of some of my equipment, and easier said than done. I started going through it, and I sat down and opened up guitar cases and these amps, and I realized that I have history. These are my friends too, and as cheesy or as corny as it may sound, it's hard to let go because of the memories, Just like the memory that this thing reminds me not to drink tequila, especially with Al Roop, not to show off behind my back, like this crazy stuff. I can barely get it back there now. And the scar, the scar. We earned that together, so that's part of who we are, and it reminds me of a time that makes me feel good. Even though I was stupid, it still makes me feel good to know that I was playing with those guys and I had the opportunity to do that. So This old guitar is my buddy. You know, I talked about Stevie Ray, and I mentioned his brother Jimmy Vaughn, who is one of my top favorite guitar players. He's up there with Tinsley Ellis and Ronnie Wood. I mean, Albert Collins, he's the man. Who didn't know that, right? But I really like Jimmy's stuff. He played with the Fabulous Thunderbirds and reinvented himself. Like he plays now with a capo and plays all this really cool, out of the box stuff. And don't be fooled. Jimmy Vaughn can burn. Okay, he is a master player. And one guy I should mention that I seriously dig is Anson Funderburg and the Rockets with Sam Myers. Sam passed away, but Anson is down in Texas doing his thing. I have never met Anson. I hope that I get the opportunity someday. We have a couple of mutual friends, and that would be an honor for me. And I don't get starstruck, but a couple guys that would blow me away, to get the chance to meet. I'd really like to sit down with Ronnie Wood. Ronnie, if by chance you're hearing this, I think you're the coolest, man, and I would love to sit down and trade licks with you or just hang out and tell stories. I would be starstruck by Ronnie Wood. Eric Clapton, I've seen him in public. I left him alone, because that's the right thing to do. But those guys, and I met Albert Collins. I can't remember if I told you that story or not, but I think I did. Super nice guy, and that's how I've always tried to be with people that come to my shows. Like I told you guys last week, I have people following us around from city to city, and you shake your head when you see somebody 300 miles away that was in a different city the night before, and they came because of the band. And I know I told you the story last week about, I used to hand out guitar picks, and I gave a little kid a guitar pick, and years later his mom came up to me and told me the story. He kept the pick under his pillow, and he wanted to learn how to play. And man, that's as good as it gets. We have, as musicians, this is a talent that is given to us, and just as easily as it's given, and we have to work hard for it, it can very easily be taken away. So embrace the fact that you have been given this talent and share it with others. Don't hide your licks, and for you guys, the non-guitar players out there, non-musician, licks are a term that we use in music. That's, the stuff that you're doing on the guitar. We'll get technical. But guys, girls, share your licks with the young kids. I know there's a ton of stuff on YouTube right now, but share what you got, man. Pass the baton to somebody that's deserving. We still got a few people on here. Hey, Terry, what's up, brother? No, not yet, but tomorrow's the day. Terry, I mentioned Terry last week, and he's my old fraternity brother, in Hope brother, to the Sigma Chi's, Alpha Gamma chapter at Ohio State. Schmitty, I don't know if you and B-Sec are out there, but I hope you guys are. What a great time, and that is not only its own chapter, but it gets its own book, okay? So cheers, fellas. Also, I'm going to send a shout out to all my Masonic brothers out there. It's a pretty special fraternity, and I'm very proud to be a Master Mason. So, you guys, how are you doing out there, man? How was your week? Shoot me a message if you have any requests. I know last week I said, probably have a bunch of requests to put the guitar down and sign off. But, I was thinking about maybe playing some grooves. If any of you guys guys and girls wanted to play along, I can show you different keys, like some of the stuff that I bastardized, and that's what I do. I'm a hack, I'll tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you. But I can show you some of that stuff, okay? I can get you playing. So, I've touched a lot on the music, and that's been a very big part of my life. Another big part, and also part of the blues, is the railroad. And I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I worked on the railroad. I worked for Amtrak for, I guess, about 13 years. And I started out as a block operator, which that was in Philadelphia. It was like an extension of the dispatchers, but I always wanted to be an engineer. It's very competitive, but after my first year, I put in for it. And after a grueling interview process, and a couple of people that were, well, the local chairman didn't want me in the craft. He only wanted to take from conductors within the T&E craft. But my dear friend, who I love very much, Rudy Jonas. Rudy, I hope you're out there, because you changed my life. And you went to bat for me, and you taught me how to be an engineer. There were a lot of guys that passed on their knowledge. Richie Cox, Bobby Griffith, Richie, dude, love you, man. Mike Flora, the big hammer. I'll tell you a quick story. And the guys in my training class, there were 11 of us, 11 in and 11 out. And guys, Mike Singer, young guy, he's not on Facebook, but I spoke to him today. And it was so good to hear Mike's voice. Mike pulled me through engineer school. There was a time when I was struggling with a couple of things, and this kid took the time and showed me, because he had a better grasp on it than what I did, and he explained it in a way. So, Mike, I know you're not able to see this. Maybe you are. Maybe somebody can pass it along to Mike. Thank you, dude. Ryan McGovern, my brother, up in New York. Man, we had some good times, huh? Us, Cole, Davey G up in Boston, BJ. Wow, what a circus, man. So after I got out of engineer school, and it was a long school, it was like 12 weeks of class, and then after that, we had to go out and do on-the-job training for like 2 years. And the guys that we had in the classroom teaching us, Bill Morecraft, cheers, Bill. You got any questions for me? Well, I got 10 for you. That was what Bill would always say when he'd give us a quiz. So, cheers to Bill, Jay Gilflin, Steve Cavalier, and my dear friend Billy Miller. Billy taught me so much about being an engineer and being a road foreman. Funny, Billy just reached out to me yesterday. So Billy, I don't think you're on Facebook. If you are, I promise I'll get back to you, man. It's just been a busy couple days. So on with the story. Let's have a drink, because you're going to need it. So Dave Martak was my road foreman, and just a sweetheart. I love Dave. I would take a bullet for Dave Martak. He's always been there in my corner. And so anyway, we had to qualify on the territory, and by that we had to take tests on where everything was on pieces of the railroad. And we had just qualified, and they wouldn't let you run the train until you got qualified on these pieces of railroad. I had just gotten qualified between DC and Baltimore. That was my first day running a train. I'm with Ray Geisendaffer. Ray, I know you know where I'm going with this. Okay, so we're northbound. I think it was train 110, early morning departure. I think we made New Carrollton. I can't remember then, but coming into Baltimore, and we got braking points where you apply the brakes, set it up, and go after it. And remember, this is my first time running the train, right? And so Ray goes, okay, put the brake on. And so I go suppression, and the train is really biting. It's grabbing, and we're gonna end up short. And he's like, I thought he said knock the brake off, but he just said come back on the brake a little bit. How I confused that, I guess I was nervous, but I knocked the brake off. He's like, you didn't knock the brake off, did you? Shit, go back after it. And when you do that, the air has to recharge. You're not going to get as much braking effort, okay? And at the time, northbound, going into BWI, which is the Baltimore airport, they had a short platform. And so at this point, where I thought I was going to end up short, I knocked the brake off, and now I'm coming in hot. And the spot where I was supposed to put the engine was half of the engine off the platform. That way the conductors could work everybody off the platform. Well, as we're coming down the platform, I see a guy standing at the end of the platform, and it was my other road foreman, Paul Wickham. He was going to ride with me to do an evaluation, and I went blowing right by Paul, okay? And he's at the end of the platform. And I'm like, shit, Ray, man. And Ray's like, oh, dude, what are you going to do? And I look back in the mirror, and I see Wickham throwing his arms up in the air. And he throws his bag down in the ballast, which is about an 8-foot drop or so. And he had to climb down and walk the train length to get up on the engine. And Paul, if you're out there, thanks, man. Didn't mean to do it. That's part of learning. But anyway, that's That's a railroad story for you. Dave Martak, all honor to Dave Martak. I miss all my railroading buddies, you know. That was a good time, and I certainly do miss it. So, anyway. That's for you guys. Big Mikey, I know you're out there, Big Mike. I see you throwing Cokes and Snicker bars at me. You better not be, all right? Who else is here? Willie Bates, another brother Mason. How are you, brother Bates? Cheers, man. So I know I've talked a lot, and I hope I've played a little more for you. We've got a few more minutes here. I'm not going to hold you up for a full hour. I hope you guys are having a cocktail. That's what it's about, right? Nobody's driving tonight, I hope. I hope you're safely at home and just taking the edge off. We're not getting hammered. Close. But we're getting tuned up, right? And it's a cool thing to do with your friends. And we can't do it now, you know, because of the social distancing. But I hope we bridge the gap a little bit with the social distancing. Man, that's good. So I hope you guys are digging this. If you're not digging it, go do something else, man. I mean, this is what it is. I'm telling stories as I think of them. I've got a ton of stories to tell. I've still got Willie Pooch stories that I keep thinking about. Railroad stories, airline stories. But the life has been a journey, and I am so thankful that everybody that's watching right now or is going to watch later, I'm so thankful that you're part of my life and that you allow me to do this. Kenny Belmont. Kenny, I know you're out there. I haven't seen you checked in yet, but I know you're there. Terry. I tell you, it's just a lot of fun, man. It's just a lot of fun. And I love you guys, and like I said, thanks for allowing me to do this. I hope I've given you something to look forward to in your week. I know it's brought a couple people together that are meeting on Zoom to watch this. Leslie and Julie, I know you guys are scratching lottery tickets tonight. I hope you hit a big winner. Remember me, okay? But lots of stories to still tell. I got stories about the mayor, Pete Goodwin. Oh, I miss that guy, man. He was my brother, and Pete left us too early. But you know, it reminds me that our time is short, and we have to do everything we can to enjoy it and make sure that others enjoy it. So, with that, I'm going to play something that I played the first week. I hope I don't butcher it. I don't play it ever. But it's one of my favorite songs. It's in the key of A. Well, at least I'm playing it in A, okay? Do I want to finger pick this? No. Maybe I do. Maybe I need to lay off the Jack and Ginger. See, I screwed it up. I gotta finger pick that. Let's try that again, guys. What do you say? It's a beautiful song, and I never do it justice, but know that it's from the heart. And Art, how you doing, Artie? We miss you, dude. We gotta get together, bud. I like that tone better. And since I butchered that, we got Joanne. Cheers, Art. Seriously miss you, man. You guys got time for one more? Let me ask the bartender. Bartender gives a thumbs up, okay? So, why don't you guys pour one with me? What do you say? All right. Hauser, in hook, my brother. There's one of my Sigma Chi brothers checking in. Here, you can't see that. How's that? All right. Just a small one. Hey, Carl. How's things out in L.A., man? When we going back to Buffalo? All right. I love that sound. All right. Love you back. Love you back, man. So I think it was last week, maybe. That was the first week. I was talking about Bobby Dale Sampson, that played a band with me, Destination Blues. I talked about Bobby a little bit last week. But Bobby, smoker guitar player, man, one of the killer guitar players I've ever played with. Bobby used to play Hideaway. I'm butchering that, and I apologize. Freddie King, I'm sorry, dude. Just, it's awkward for me to sit down and play, and no excuses, I just butchered it, but... And it goes through this whole thing of changes. I won't go through that because I know I'm going to butcher that. I haven't played it in so long. But anyway, guys, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark or so. So I'm going to sign off here in just a second after I tune this thing just a little bit. You guys know the importance of staying tuned, right? No metaphor there. Come on up there. It'd help if I hit the right string, huh? Okay, close enough. Man. Come on up there. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go here in just a second. If you're bored, feel free to check out. I mean, leave the room. Don't check out, right? Because we all know what that means. I want you to stick around. There we go. So. I don't know what this, not even a song, it's just playing some chords, but I like this arrangement. All right, guys, put your drinks down. Girls, put your drinks down. Everybody take a drink first. How about that? You guys have been coming to see me for years. You know I do this song. I'm not going to sing it tonight. But if you want to get up and groove, it's in my favorite key, the key of C, because that's the only thing that I can come close in vocally. But I do the garbage man, okay? So, have some fun. I changed it up on you. You know how it goes. And then if you guys feel like surfing, you know the surf's up, right? All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Stay safe out there, okay? I know we're getting close to ending some of the restrictions state by state. Don't be a hammerhead, okay? Don't go out without a mask. If you're like me, I should have always been wearing a mask all along with this mug. Cover that mug up, all right? You might save somebody's life. Be good to your neighbors. Be good to your friends. Be good to people you don't know. You know, make a new friend. Check in on the elderly, okay? It's super important. Like I always say, the world has enough jerks, okay? So take the high road. Be one of the good ones, like I know that you guys are, because you're here with me. And if you weren't one of the good ones, you wouldn't be here. So hold your glass up, you guys. Know that this is a lot of fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. If you guys want me to continue, let me know, okay? If it's not something you're digging, let me know. You don't have to come in and hang out. I don't have to turn Facebook on. I can sit here and play with myself. Guess I should rephrase that. You know what I mean? We all do that. You know, we all sit at home and play our guitars and practice. But there's nothing like performing live in front of a crowd or live in front of your friends in a virtual crowd. So I'm going to remind everybody that I'm going to be doing a gig, hopefully it's still on, in Smyrna, Delaware, at the Smyrna Opera House with Reuniting with Bad Juju, May 29th. It's a Friday night. Tickets, I think they still have tickets left. It's going to be a good time. There's some monster musicians, and they're going to let me join them. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Be safe out there. My railroad buddies, God bless you, man. Everybody in the transportation industry, you know, you guys are doing heroic stuff, just like the medical workers, you know, the nurses, the doctors, EMTs, firemen, police. Hats off to you guys. You're the real heroes in this country. And cheers, man, to you guys. Love you. See you next week. If I can figure this thing out.